Howdy, folks. This is Phil coming to you from Guardtower Studios. I'm here to show off some of the Modern Horizons 3 Magic product you can get a hold of this Friday. First, I'll start off with the Commander decks. And first at bat is Tricky Terrain, a Simic playstyle deck that cares about the land types you have. Here's the regular version, and here's the collector's edition. Next, I'll be showing off the boxes for Energy. They are Jeskai Red, White, and Blue Energy decks. This is the regular version, and this is the collector's version. It comes with the Panorama portrait style cards for our commanders. Up next is Graveyard Overdrive, a Jund value deck that cares about cards in your graveyard. Again, this is the regular version, and this is the collector's version. And finally, to wrap this all up, we have the Eldrazi decks. On my left is the regular version, and on the right is the collector's version. Now, remember, you can get a hold of these release date this Friday. And here's the play booster for Modern Horizons 3. The box art features a Johnny Goldmane, one of our favorite white planeswalkers and kitty cats. And come join us the 7th, 8th, and 9th of June at your friendly local gaming store to participate in our pre-release events. In my hands is a pre-release kit that you'll get a hold of, which features 6 play boosters, a promo, and a spin down die, and a nice box to carry your cards in. This is a great way to get a hold of cards early before retailers like Target and Walmart can, and it's also a great time to spend with friends and other Magic players. And here we have, in all its shiny glory, the Modern Horizons 3 Collector Booster. For sticking along with me this so far, I will show off one of these boosters for y'all. I'm really hoping to get the Ocelot Pride just because it's a white card that cares about tokens and it's just an overall great card to begin with. Other than that, it's a great token enabler as well. And we'll start things off with our common Utter Insignificance in foil. A Nyxborn Hydra. One of the mechanics coming back is Bestow. Scurrilous Sentry. Here we're just winging it. In Ikoria, you got to see a keyword ability counters, and you see that return in this card. A Null Elemental Blast. So for fans of like Red Elemental Blast and Blue Elemental Blast, the Eldrazi finally have access to their own Elemental Blast. And in the reprint slot, we have Decree of Justice. This used to be an all-star rare, but now it's been downshifted to uncommon. And also, a great feature of the set are these double-faced creature and land cards. I feel like this is a great way for Charbelcher decks to have a lot of fun, and also the quote-unquote landless decks to shine. And for a land, we have a swamp with what looks like Emrakul just tearing it apart. In our old border reprint slot, we have Jolted Awake. And then fans of Reanimator decks will see the old style Victimize reprinted into Modern now. So interested to see what we can do with that in Modern. And speaking of Eldrazi, we have Abstruse Appropriation. It's devoid, even though it has this white and black symbol in the corner, is actually considered to be a colorless card. And for our commander card, we have Horizon of Progress. I think this is a great card that can go into any commander deck. It helps you ramp, and then once you're done ramping, you could pay a mana, tap it, sacrifice it to draw a card. Next, we have a full art Shifting Woodland. So in this set, there's a cycle of cards that have their own ability. For green, it's Delirium, so it cares about having different card types in your graveyard. And then finally, for the commander players, I know they'll be really excited with this. Flare of Cultivation. So in this cycle, for this set, you have the Flare cycle, which you can cast by sacrificing a non-token creature for instead of its original cost. And finally, to wrap things up, a Fanatic of Ronus. It it features Eternalize, which was an Hour of Devastation, and cares about giving you a whole bunch of green pips. And for our token slot, we have the Eldrazi spawn versus the Soldier. Alrighty. And finally, to wrap things up, I will be showing off the bundle for Mon Horizons 3, featuring our favorite kitty cat boy, Johnny Goldmane. In these, you will find 9 play booster packs, 15 traditional foil, and 15 regular basic lands. The alt art power balance for people that know the reference for counterbalance. And then finally, the spin down die and the box that you can hold everything in. Note that this is just the regular one. The gift bundle edition releases June 28th. Without further ado, let's get this puppy opened. Alrighty, here's the box in all its glory. Both sides you have a Johnny. And a Johnny before he was a Planeswalker and some counters. This cool spin down D20 that I mentioned earlier. And let's show off some of these alt arts and foil lands, y'all. So we're opening this pack straight up with a power balance. Again, a nice reference to counterbalance. Instead of the blue being the frontmost color, you'll actually see red be the frontmost color. And then some of the Eldrazi Invasion basics, full arts, as foil, which is really nice. So we start things off with the Plains, the Island, the Swamp, which we got to see in our Collector booster, our Mountain, and finally our full art Forest. Now I won't be showing off the non-full arts, but expect your packs to have that in store for you. And then finally, if the glare was a little bad for you guys, here's the full art Plains in its non-shiny glory. The Island, Swamp, Mountain, and finally the Forest. Again, the basics, non-full art are there as well. Finally, let's get to opening some of these play boosters. Alright, so if you guys don't mind, I'd love to know what cards you're excited for in this set. I did mention the Ocelot Pride, but the Flip Planeswalker creatures are really cool as well. I'm going to skip through some of the commons and uncommons unless there's one that speaks to me. Ooh, and in our reprint slot, we have Meltdown. So it'll be interesting to see how this will impact Modern. I know By Force was a really popular card, and Vandal Blast and stuff like that. And for our rare, a callback to Swan Song, instead we have the Strict Serenade. So instead of countering enchantments, it'll counter artifacts and all the relevant stuff and leave behind that 2/2 bird. For our foil, we have a Basking Brood Scale. And then finally, I do believe she was originally featured in Commander, but here is Brea, the Ethereal Shaper. So for a first pack, I think that's pretty sweet. Swan Song, you know, huge in Commander. One a great counter spell in blue as well. Super relevant. Any of these? Nope. Devoid. Sweet. Actually, another card that I think is really interesting to see reprinted into Modern is Buried Alive. A great way to tutor 3 cards and put them into your graveyard. And then for our rare, ooh, interesting, we have Crabomination with the mechanic returning for a merge. And then finally, Eviscerator's Insight. So traditionally, you see black have sacrifice a creature and to draw 2 cards. You'll see it this time, except it has flashback. So when you pay that flashback cost, you do have to also sacrifice that creature. So it'll help you out of those long, drawn-out games. And hopefully draw you into things that can win you the game. Just a card with, I think, amazing art, but a common and Glimpse the Impossible. I know Pauper players might be interested in this, but Cranial Ram, a living weapon with cranial plating-esque ability to it. Again, just straight into Pauper it goes. Ghost Fire Slice. I feel like this is a great 4 damage effect that is red but also colorless because of that Devoid. Ooh, we got a rare reprint card in Orm's Chant, a 1-mana silence effect that for an additional white for its kicker cost, you can also prevent creatures attacking that turn. Next, we get to see the regular form of Flare of Cultivation. Again, a nice commander card that I think a lot of players will find homes for. And for our foil slot, we have Winter Moon. Nice callback to Winter Orb as well. And then finally, to wrap things up, Ugin's Binding with the foil signature on it as well. I'd say I'd be really happy with that pack. You know, getting 3 rares is always a nice bonus, and then getting a signed card on top of it, I think, honestly sweetens the whole pack for me. Going through, oh man, for you memers out there, we got Colossal Dread Mask. So not just a Colossal Dreadmaw, but a living weapon that you can turn into equipment and make other things more colossal and more Dreadmaw-y. Oh, now I got a sneak peek of the next card, but another interesting reprint card. We have Priest of Titania from the Urza's block, an elf that adds more mana to your mana pool based on the number of elves on the battlefield. So this will count your opponent's elves if they are playing any. And we can't have an Eldrazi set without Emrakul, the world anew. So I know a lot of people were interested in seeing the Titan Eldrazi's really have their moment in the sun, and it was nice to see them reprinted in Zendikar Rising and stuff like that. But now, with Modern Horizons, they can really hold nothing back for the power of these creatures. So, having opened Emrakul, I'm really happy with that pack as well. Really interested to see what impact she'll have on the story as well. She's currently just chilling on Innistrad's moon, biding her time, so we'll see. So, just a goofy card, but for all the Brushwag fans out there, we got the temperamental Oozewag. This time he's back, Oozy. Oh, wow. Now, this is a real treat. In our reprint slot, we have Pearl Medallion in full art. A great card that just helps you reduce the generic cost of white cards you play, and also just so pretty. And for our rare slot, we have Arena of Glory. So previously on the green card, you saw Delirium, now you see Exert. Normally on creatures, but now you can exert lands. And it's interesting because if you choose to split the double red mana it produces, you can actually give two creatures haste. So a little tidbit for you players out there. And for our foil slot, we have waterlogged teachings. So originally in Zendikar Rising, you saw front half be a spell and back half be a land. They didn't delve into two colors, where they do that here. So again, another way to clean up the mana base for the manaless decks, and also just a cool card to see. And no art card this time, but we do have the Phyrexian Worm. Not the 3/3, but just a Phyrexian Worm that's generated by who knows what card. I don't know. Alrighty. Ooh, we're getting down to things. So, something interesting we'll see is that with the flip planeswalkers, the creature on the front, planeswalker on the back, they also have like a really iconic moment in their card history that highlights their progression into becoming a planeswalker or just a significant moment to them. I know this card features Avacyn, but she was a creation of Soren Markov, so I believe it's a reference towards that. In our reprint slot, we got Decree of Justice again. And finally, in our rare slot, we have another card of the Flare Cycle, this time Flare of Malice. And then in our foil slot, we have Searing Landscape. So it's interesting to see cycling come back on a cycle of lands this time. This time you're looking to cycle for 3 different mana pips. All right, last 3. Can you hear that final countdown? 3, 2, 1, go? Or is that just me? Alrighty. And to start this pack off, our faithful watchdog. So I think this is an interesting callback to Watch Wolf in the OG Ravnica set. And in green white, you care about counters and proliferation, so something sweet for that. A lot of Eldrazi in this set. Like, this is a callback to Terramander in one of the Return to Ravnica sets, so that it'll adapt based off of the number of artifacts you have instead of instants and sorceries in your graveyard. In our reprint slot, we have Annoyed Altasaur. I know Cascade is a interesting mechanic, and it's interesting to see them introduce this dinosaur into the set. I don't think it'll have much of an impact in Modern, but it's interesting that this is one of the cards they chose. Uh, and in our rare slot, we have Party Thrasher. And for our foil slot, we see a Solstice Zealot. So in the commander decks, you saw me mention energy. Energy's primary colors this time are red, white, and blue. So if you open a lot of red, white, and blue cards, you want to focus on that energy synergy. Synergy energy? That rhymes. Hey. And for our art card, we have this piece done by Julian Junwen. Stone Idol Generator. Interesting. Alright. Last two. Opening Emrakul was nice. Maybe we'll see her siblings show up. That'd be swell. So yeah, like I mentioned, each of those flip creature planeswalkers, have a significant saga behind them, and it looks like red is Ral's time to shine. And one of our flip cards, the Boggart Trawler, nice reference to Bojuka Bog. This time, instead of the land doing the exiling, it's the creature, and on the other half is the Boggart Bog. You could choose to pay 3 life for it to come into play untapped, but honestly, I think most people will look at the creature side of things. And in our reprint slot, we have the regular version of Pearl Medallion. Previously, you saw the full art. This time, you'll see the regular art. Oh, wow. So, we are 3 out of 5 on our Flare cycles. We're just missing the white and red one, but here is Flare of Denial. So you can sacrifice a non-token blue creature just to counter a spell, which I think is pretty powerful. And not many people will play around. They'll see a blue creature, no mana up, they'll be like, hey, it'll be fine. Finally, a bespoke battle wagon, an artifact vehicle that cares about generating mana. Alrighty. Now, the flare was really exciting to open as well because I like having options, and having access to a counterspell that is free is a very interesting place to be in. And for our final pack, we have a reprint card in Deep Analysis. Note that does say target player, so you can cast Misdirection on this to target yourself instead of the opponent, if that ever comes down to it. And it's a card where it has flashback and a mandatory paying of life to recast. Man, we're getting so many cards that we get the regular version of and the alt art version for. And I'm happy to show off the Strict Serenade. So again, instead of countering an enchantment like Swansong would, you get to counter an artifact. Or actually, you get to hit the other types. So Swansong is instant sorcery enchantment. Strix is creature, artifact, or planeswalker. So very exciting blue counterspell. And most of the time, giving them a 2/2 flyer is not that bad of a trade-off to counter a creature spell. And this time we have a non-Eldrazi ruined full art island that is also foil. For our foil slot, we get the Nyxborn Hydra. Again, Bestow is coming back, so for those familiar, you can cast it for its Bestow cost to make it an aura, and when the creature that dies that was bestowed, you get the Nyxborn Hydra onto the battlefield. Alrighty. So that wraps up my pack opening with y'all. Thank you so much for joining me in opening these packs. And just a friendly reminder that we have pre-release the June 7th, 8th, and 9th with a great opportunity to play single player sealed or two-head giant in our Saturday evening slot. If you have any questions, feel free to give Guardtower West a call or your friendly local gaming store. I really appreciate y'all joining me on this journey, and I wish you the best of pulls and a great rest of the day. All right, take care, guys.